Have you ever wondered how the Egyptians built those massive pyramids? It wasn't just brute force and a whole lot of sand. It was something far more powerful. Something that still rules our world today. Money. But the Egyptian version of money wasn't what you think. Forget coins and paper bills. We are talking about a system so sophisticated, it allowed them to dominate the ancient world for 3,000 years. And today, we're going to uncover the secrets of the Pharaoh's Fund, a system of wealth and power that laid the groundwork for modern economics. Welcome to Pharaoh Fund Economic, where we dig into the financial secrets of the past. Let's travel back in time, long before the invention of coins. In ancient Egypt, the economy ran on a system called barter. Simple, right? You have grain, I have pottery. We make a trade. But what happens when you need a house built? You can't just pay the stonemason with 10,000 onions. The Egyptians needed a standardized way to measure value. And what they came up with was ingenious. They created a unit of account called the deben. A deben was a specific weight, about 91 grams, usually measured in copper, but sometimes in silver or gold. Now, this is the crucial part. The deben wasn't a coin. People weren't walking around with little copper rings in their pockets. Instead, it was an idea, a concept of value. A pair of sandals might be worth 1 deben. A goat could be worth 2. A month's wages for a laborer, 10 deben. Suddenly, everything had a price, even if no physical money ever changed hands. This allowed the Egyptians to create complex contracts, set wages, and most importantly, collect taxes. The entire kingdom's wealth could be calculated and managed, all thanks to this simple yet revolutionary unit of value. So, who controlled all this wealth? The pharaoh, of course. The pharaoh wasn't just a king. He was considered a god on earth, and in theory, he owned everything in Egypt. All the land, all the resources, all the people. The state led by the pharaoh was the central hub of the entire economy. Think of it as a massive state-run corporation. This system is what historians call a redistributive economy. Here's how it worked. Farmers would grow grain, which was the backbone of the Egyptian economy. A huge portion of this grain was collected as taxes and stored in massive, state-owned granaries. These weren't just barns. They were the central banks of ancient Egypt. The grain in these granaries represented the nation's wealth. From these central storehouses, the state would then redistribute the wealth. It paid the salaries of scribes, soldiers, priests, and the artisans who built the magnificent temples and tombs. It funded massive public works projects, like irrigation canals that turned the desert into fertile farmland. This centralized control gave the pharaoh immense power. He could fund massive armies to defend the borders and expand the empire. He could commission monuments that projected his power and divinity for eternity. By controlling the food supply, he controlled the people. If you worked for the state, you were fed. If you didn't, well, life was a lot harder. This system ensured a stable workforce and a loyal population, all managed through the careful collection and redistribution of resources, priced in debens. But Egypt wasn't an island. It was a major player in a bustling international network. And this is where their economic might really shined. Egypt was rich in gold, sourced from the mines of Nubia to the south. In the ancient world, gold was the ultimate luxury item, the symbol of power and divinity. And Egypt had a near monopoly on it. Letters from other ancient kings are filled with pleas to the pharaoh. My brother, send me gold, much gold. For in your land, gold is as common as dust. The Egyptians cleverly used this gold diplomacy to their advantage. They would trade their gold for things they lacked, like silver from Anatolia, cedarwood from Lebanon for their ships and temples, and lapis lazuli from as far away as Afghanistan. They weren't just trading goods. They were projecting power. By controlling the flow of gold, they could influence foreign kings, secure treaties, and keep their rivals in check without ever having to fire an arrow. A shipment of gold could be more effective than a battalion of soldiers. It was economic warfare, ancient Egyptian style. Now, let's talk about the people who made this all happen. The scribes. In our world, we have bankers, accountants, and economists. In ancient Egypt, they had scribes. These highly educated individuals were the gears of the economic machine. They meticulously recorded everything. Every bushel of grain collected as tax. Every block of stone moved for a pyramid. Every deben paid as a wage. They managed the granaries, drafted contracts, and kept the state's accounts. These records, written on papyrus scrolls, give us an incredible window into their economy. We have pay stubs for tomb workers, receipts for land sales, and even legal disputes over inheritance. One famous document, the Wilbur Papyrus, is a massive survey of landholdings and tax assessments covering hundreds of kilometers. It's like the ancient Egyptian version of the IRS's master files. Without these scribes, the complex redistributive economy would have collapsed. They were the administrators who turned the pharaoh's divine ownership into a practical, functioning economic system. Their work ensured that wealth flowed smoothly from the fields to the state coffers and back out to the people, maintaining the stability and prosperity of the kingdom for centuries. So, how did this ancient system of wealth and power finally end? Like all great empires, the decline was slow and complex. A series of internal power struggles weakened the central authority of the pharaoh. Priests, particularly the powerful priests of Amunoi, began to accumulate vast wealth and land, creating a parallel economy that challenged the state's control. Climate change, leading to less predictable Nile floods, strained the agricultural base of the economy. Then came the external pressures, a wave of invasions by foreign powers, like the Assyrians and the Persians, chipped away at Egypt's sovereignty. Finally, the arrival of the Greeks under Alexander the Great in 330 BC marked a turning point. The Greeks brought with them a new economic technology, coinage. For the first time, physical money began to circulate widely in Egypt. The old barter and debon system, which had served Egypt for millennia, was slowly replaced. The economy decentralized. The pharaoh's granaries lost their status as central banks, while Egypt continued to be a rich agricultural province for the Greeks and later the Romans. Its unique economic system, the very foundation of its native power, had faded into history. What can we learn from the pharaoh's fund today? The Egyptian system shows us that money is, and always has been, a tool of power. The state's ability to tax, store, and redistribute wealth is fundamental to its existence. Centralized control can lead to incredible achievements, like the pyramids, but it can also be vulnerable to corruption and internal decay. Egypt's use of gold diplomacy is a timeless lesson in using economic strength to achieve geopolitical goals. Most importantly, the story of the debon reminds us that money is ultimately a social construct, an agreement on value that allows society to function. Whether it's a measure of grain, a weight of copper, or a string of code in a computer, the principles remain the same. The economic secrets of the pharaohs are not just buried in the sand. They are all around us, shaping the very world we live in today. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the economic world of ancient Egypt. If you enjoyed uncovering these financial secrets, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Pharaoh Fund Economic for more deep dives into the history of money and power. Let us know in the comments what ancient economy you want us to explore next. See you in the next video.